Hey buddy, what's up? You know, I thought I'd talk a little bit about something. First of all, I want to talk about an article that Folk Rock 295 put up. Now I don't have the article with me, just to let you know. I don't have it with me. But what I do want to talk about is what Folk Rock 295 basically says in this. And it's a question, believe it or not, folks. Now I asked a variety that I posted. I provided the link to this question, and then I kind of asked a little something myself. I kind of said a little something myself, and I basically said, hey, the way I look at it, I can't say either way. I can't really say yes or no. So I tried to get some answers, and so far people are basically being like, why do you keep saying this? Why do you keep posting this and that? Look, I'm just trying to, whether it's positive or negative, I'm just trying to show both sides of the boat. You know what I'm saying? Both sides of the boat. But anyway, getting back on topic here. Getting back on topic. The thing that Volkrock 295 has said, well, basically the title of his article, and I'll provide it down below, is Flynn's writing is ... and then he says, in his words, utterly crap. But basically, when you read it, he does kind of mention something as well, or at least one of his responders says something as well. And what they say is, it kind of makes some sense if you look at it from a standpoint of a comic book fan, or a long-time comic book fan, or fan of any kind of media. And it's something that I didn't even think about, or anybody else, I think, whether you're siding with it, whether you're a fan of Ian Flynn, you're in the middle, or you're against him. Basically something that I didn't even know about, I didn't even see. Basically the question that they posed, and then I posted this as the title of the topic that I provided some of the forums, even Toon Zone, is Ian Flynn getting into a rut? Or is Ian Flynn getting into the isn't this cool, been there, done that rut? Now, you might say to yourself, well, what does that mean, Brian? What does been there, done that, isn't that cool mean in that kind of sentence or in that kind of question? Well, Volkrock, you'll see it in the link that I provide, basically lists down a ton of things, and then he puts to the side of it, isn't it cool? Isn't this cool? Isn't this cool? Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool? After everything he touches upon. Like, let's say, Sally becoming Mecha Sally. Isn't it cool? Or the secret freedom fighters being created. Isn't it cool? Or Bunny being magically deroboticized. Isn't it cool? Or Sonic fighting Mecha Sally in her mechanized form. Isn't it cool? Amy fighting Sally in her mechanized form. Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool? Basically, he's saying, what Volkrock 295 is saying is, everything that Ian Flynn has put into the book so far, that 50% are for and 50% are against, basically is things that have been done before and things that have already been done and things that are not necessary. Now, one of his responders, you'll see who that is down below when you click on the link, basically has said that, and I think I could quote what they say, because they add something. I'm trying to find what they said. Yeah, basically, I'll read this person off in a little while. says that Ian Flynn is doing too much of the been there, done that deal. And what's ironic about this, because I asked this question, when I posted the link to this question and some of the forums, and I mentioned what this one person said. I mean, they're going as far as to say Ken Penders is looking more like a decent writer than Ian Flynn. Because they do use examples that, like, yes, this has been done before, but it hasn't been dragged out for this long. Yes, this happened to Sally before, but it was only done for one issue, if less than that. So the question that they're looking at, the question that they have, not a question, but the thing that not a question, but the thing they're pointing out is what they feel, and what Volkrock is saying is Ian Flynn is just trying to be Mr. Hey, let's shake a key. It's basically like if you take your keys. It's like if you take your keys like these and shake them in front of a baby. You shake them in front of a baby. It's like, hey, isn't this cool? Isn't this cool? That's basically how Volkrock 295 looks at it. Like, basically, Ian Flynn is doing all this, like the roboticization of Sally and weaponizing her. The disbandment of the Freedom Fighters so you can have two separate teams. One focused with the game characters. Doing the Olympic tie-in, even though it's a few months late. Hey, doing this and that. Basically, he's saying, hey, isn't this all cool? Isn't this all cool? Basically, in the eyes of Volkrock 295, it's basically like him shaking keys in front of a baby. And I think what Volkrock 295 has to understand, and I respect his opinion, is it may seem like Ian Flynn is doing that, but you also have to realize Ian Flynn probably has a lot on his plate. Which I would highly recommend he get somebody else to do the writing for at least one or two of those comics. Because him doing the writing for all of it, it's going to hurt him in the long run, folks. It is. I mean, I'm not trying to say Ian Flynn isn't a great writer. The guy's a tremendous writer. There's no doubt about it. But the thing is with Ian Flynn, is he's got too much on his plate. And when you have too much on your plate, you're bound to do things and drag things on, sometimes in the eyes of some people, longer than they should be dragged on. Hold on for a second. Sorry about that, folks. I had to go get something and check something too. But like I said, in the eyes of Volkrock 295, Ian Flynn's doing more than he should. Now, again, it's like I said, it's probably because, in my honest opinion, he's got a lot on his plate. And he needs to basically share a bit of that load. Now, I know he probably doesn't trust certain people to do what he needs to be done. And there goes the DVD. I'll probably trust people to do what needs to be done. But the thing is, who else are you going to trust? I mean, you got a ton of potential writers right in front of you. Tracy Yardley, and whoever else you could get. You can even make some phone calls and get some people that used to work with Archie that did great stories and everything to come on board and say, hey, can you take the helms of this? And I believe that's why, in my honest opinion, why he's, as some fans are saying, dragging out certain things longer than they should be. It's all because he's got a lot on his plate. If he didn't have a lot on his plate, I guarantee you right now that this whole storyline, this whole story arc in several people's eyes would probably start to make more sense than what it is. Now, I'm not saying that I don't know if it makes sense or not. But hopefully, in the eyes of some, we'll get some clarity, some kind of clear, true answer to what's going on. Because a lot of fans, like I said, whether they support Ian or not, even those that support him have kind of shown the disdain for how long this has been going. They just want it done and over with. There's a lot of them that are like, look, we understand you got to do an Olympic tie-in because Sega says so. We understand that you got to do a crossover when you shouldn't have to do a crossover because Sega and Capcom and Archie want you to. To me, it's like, he's doing things, whether he wants to do them himself, or whether it's because he's being told, hey, you got to do it this way now, or else you're not going to do it ever. And I think that's why he's dragging certain things on for as long as he has been, because it's basically because of the fact that he has a lot on his plate, and he's doing things that he really doesn't want to have to write stories for, but he does it anyway. He doesn't want to have to write stories for an Olympic tie-in for an issue that's going to come out 2-3 months after the Olympics. He doesn't want to have to write a crossover, even though it sounds good and everything, until the current arc's over. But what are you going to do? See what I'm saying? Now, unless, like I said before, and I'm sure other people have said this, unless the arc, this upcoming crossover, has some kind of resolve or some kind of meaning to the current arc in the Sonic comic books, as well as maybe have some meaning to the current arcs in the Mega Man comic books, then what's the real reason for it? I mean, there's no real reason to do it right away, and you could easily wait. But the point I'm trying to make is, but the point I'm trying to make overall, the point I'm trying to get back on track about is, this is why Ian Flynn, in the eyes of maybe Volkrock 295 and others, is doing what he's doing. Because he's so busy that he's not realizing, oh shoot, I'm doing the same things over and over again. I'm repeating myself, or I'm repeating what other people did. I need to fix this. I need to fix this, and I need to fix it right away. But he doesn't have the time to do that. It's kind of like with my own mother, my own mom. She's a preschool teacher, and she goes to class Monday and Wednesday nights. She goes to college class Monday and Wednesday nights. And she barely has time, and she has told me, to do certain things around the house. Like clean, vacuum, do some garden. She hasn't had time to put some plants down, do this and do that. She hasn't had real time to do anything. Because she's constantly stuck with doing homework for her college class and sometimes doing the planning for her preschool class. So basically that's when I look, when I hear somebody say, well, Ian Flynn's constantly repeating himself, or it's not getting the job done, it's not doing what needs to be done, it reminds me of, what's going on with my mom. Because my mom, she wants to get things done around this house. She wants to go out and do certain things and stuff, but she can't do it because she's constantly stuck at home doing homework, or if it's her turn, constantly coming up with a plan for the kids at a preschool. So, the thing is, despite how you may feel about him, and say, oh, well, he's just like juggling keys in front of a baby with all the stuff he's done, you got to realize that perhaps it's because he's got a lot on his plate. And he can't, and unless he takes some of that off of his plate, he's not going to have enough time to try to look back at things and say, you know what? I need to fix all this. Now, I'm not trying to defend Ian Flynn. I'm not. I'm just trying to look at it from his point of view. And from my own personal experience, seeing what my mom's going through. So, I mean, again, I do respect, I do honestly respect what Volcrock 295 is saying. I mean, yes, it does seem like he's constantly just doing all this, doing all these certain things like the Mecha Sally deal and the Team Fighters, Team Freedoms, the Olympic tie-ins and the crossover, as if he's shaking keys in front of a baby going like, hey, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Isn't that great? Look at this, look at this. You know, I get that. I understand that. But again, you have to understand that right now he probably doesn't have enough on his plate. Well, not enough, but he doesn't have less on his plate to try to fix it. He doesn't have enough space. So to me, that's why Ian Flynn might be going through the situation he's doing. Just my honest opinion. You guys can have your own honest opinion about it. And if you feel, okay, you know, maybe I've got a point, or maybe perhaps I'm trying to defend him, hey, that's all your opinion and everything. But I feel, in my honest opinion, that he's got a lot on his plate. Not trying to defend him, because I understand where people are coming from. But honestly, in my honest opinion, I feel he's got a lot on his plate. And if he didn't have a lot on his plate, he'd be able to fix this. But this is, again, something I said before. If Ian Flynn's got a lot on his plate, he needs to basically hand over what he has on his plate, some of that, to somebody that could really use the work, if you know what I'm saying. But overall, I get what Volcrock 295's trying to get at, and I will provide a link down below. Sorry this video went long, but I had to just basically get that all out, and it's my response to his list, and I'll be back later on with some other vids, but comment down below, tell me what you guys think, respond if you like. Do you agree or not with what I said here? Do you think maybe he is in a rut? Or do you think maybe he's got too much on his plate? Let me know what you guys think down below, and I will talk to you all later.